What if I told you that there was something that I replaced alcohol with, and once I'd replaced it with this, I never drank again. In fact, I haven't touched a drop of alcohol for 7 years after a decade of just, honestly, hell. And when I say hell, yeah, sure, alcohol caused pain, but I had this desire to stop drinking alcohol that I just couldn't grab hold of. It was like I'd want to stop, I'd grab hold of being sober, and then I'd have this idea to have just one drink, and the cycle would just repeat. But that was all until I made a discovery. And I'm going to break down this discovery in this video today, because I'm going to show you what you can replace alcohol with, and this will change your life forever. So whether you've already stopped drinking alcohol or you're still figuring it out and really trying your best, you definitely want to watch this video. If we've not met yet, my name is Leon Sylvester. I'm the founder of SoberClear.com. And very quickly, if you want instant access to a brand new video training that I've just finished showing you how to control alcohol in as little as 48 hours, then click the link in the description. This new method is not about using willpower therapy or AA meetings, it's totally different. I do not publish this video anywhere else online, and it's already changing thousands of lives, so click the link below for instant access. Once you're on the next page, enter your name and email address and your free training will begin. It takes just 7 minutes to watch, but it'll feel like somebody flicks a switch in your brain. And honestly, I'm not sure when I'll start charging for this 7-minute video training. That's how good it is. But whilst it's still available, click the link below, enter your name and email address, and watch that video now. So many people who try and stop drinking alcohol look for a replacement. I get so many emails and comments on YouTube videos and private messages of people that say, hey Leon, what do you think of these alcohol-free drinks? What do I think of mocktails? What do I think of drinking this instead of alcohol? And to understand what I replaced alcohol with, there are 3 layers that we kind of need to dive into, because you need to understand the full picture here before I show you what I replaced it with. Because it's not just as simple as saying, yeah, I drink some alcohol-free beer, because I don't drink that. And it's not as simple as saying, well, I just drink sparkling water. I want to show you the actual thought process of what I've replaced alcohol with, because once you see the layers, it's going to give you like this, I get it now, this aha moment. That's the intention. At least that's how these ideas worked for me. So let me break down these 3 critical layers for you to get your head around. The first layer, and the first thing that we really need to get our heads around, is that alcohol is a drug. I've spoken with thousands of people over the years who need help stopping drinking alcohol, that are interested in joining my coaching program, SoberClear, which if you want information on, you can just go to SoberClear.com and you can schedule a free consultation. But anyway, so many people talk to me and they say, Leon, I've never taken a drug in my life, but alcohol seems to dominate my life. And I always think, like, is this rationalization, or do they really not know alcohol is a drug? Honestly, I don't know, because I'm not going to attack somebody and start saying, hey, you're stupid, alcohol's a drug. No, I'm not going to do that. But to be honest with you, these are the thoughts that go through my head. This is not a gray area. Alcohol is a drug. This is black and white. Like, there's no question about this. The problem, though, is that because it's a drink and it feels so normal to drink, because we drink every day, right? We drink coffee. I got a little coffee here. We drink water. We drink things to stay alive. The act of drinking feels so normal. I'm pretty sure if you had to snort alcohol as a line and that's how you had to consume it, alcohol consumption would drop drastically. But it feels natural and it's also normalized. Society sees alcohol not as the same way that we see any other drug. And we'll come back to this in a second, but you've got to start with this as an understanding before you understand what to replace alcohol with. So the second layer to this is this highly addictive drug that we call alcohol is also a poison. It's a poisonous toxic substance. Most of the population don't realize this, but it's also a carcinogen. And I don't know if you've ever tried like diesel, which is this thing that they used to put inside of a punch when I was in America at university, when I was in Tampa at USF. I joined a fraternity and they'd make these punches where they'd put this diesel in, and I tried this punch and it was, I think it's like 70% alcohol. It's basically neat alcohol. I'm quite sure you can't get a higher concentration of alcohol without it turning into a solid. I might be wrong on that, but I tasted this stuff neat and it literally set fire to my mouth. My body, my taste buds said, hell no, don't drink that. But what we do is we have that exact same substance. There's no difference. It's the very same drug and the very same taste. But what we do is we dilute it. We fill it with sugar. We turn it into beer. We turn it into wine. But it's the same crap and it's a poison. If you drink enough of it, you will die. I'm not being mean and I'm not trying to point my finger and say you're a bad person or anything like that. But if you drink enough of it, it will put you in a coffin. That ain't good. That's absolutely terrible. But as a society, we just give it a pass. Bear with me. You'll see where this is going in a second. But the third thing that I had to get my head around, and you probably need to get your head around, I'm not trying to sound judgmental, but the next thing I had to do is stop lying to myself about the pain that alcohol caused. Alcohol caused pain in my life. Hangovers, a lack of energy, putting on weight, not setting a good example to my family and to my friends, prioritizing drinking over everything else. It caused pain in my life. And when I used to drink I had to rationalize it. I had to justify it. And I had to come to terms with the fact that alcohol was probably the biggest source of pain in my life. Because any major problem that I had usually had alcohol linked to it. So now we've built this foundation and now we're a little bit clearer on what alcohol actually is and the role that it plays in our life. Let's change the example and you'll see how powerful this is in a second. But imagine a friend, maybe a family member. In fact, if you want to make it really severe, imagine somebody that you really love, a spouse, a child, something like that. Imagine that individual got heavily addicted to crack cocaine, one of the most destructive drugs in the world. Now, imagine they got clean, they stopped the drug, it's been a month, and they're in the very same predicament as somebody who's stopped drinking alcohol. They're thinking, what could I replace the crack with? So what he does, or she does, the person that you love, and I know it's a little bit weird to think this way, but it'll make it a lot more powerful. But just imagine that this friend, this family member, whoever it is, they go and visit their old crack smoking friends. They go wherever they go, into the abandoned house, who knows? And all their friends pull out their pipe and start smoking. And then the person, whoever's in your mind right now, has their pipe in their pocket and they think, oh, right, okay, I'll pull it out, but I'm not going to smoke crack. Oh, look at this sawdust on the ground. Okay, I'll put the sawdust in and now I'll smoke the crack pipe. Now I don't feel like I'm missing out. I'm sorry, but what would you think about that? Would you think that that's okay? Would you think that that person has a high chance of succeeding as a non-crack smoking person, hanging around their friends, trying to fit in, trying to smoke the sawdust? And I know this example is pretty crude and not very nice, but hopefully you're starting to see what I replaced alcohol with. Now, the thing with crack is it's not the best example because it's illegal. So for the crack smoker, if they ever stop, they're probably going to get away from the criminals and the underworld that they have to deal with. But here's the thing. With alcohol, we can't escape it. Unless you go and live in a country with a government where alcohol is banned, like in the Middle East or something like that, where even then though there's, I don't know, places where you can probably still find the stuff. But unless you go to a place like that, you live in a world where drinking alcohol is normalized. When you change the substance, you see the absolute madness and insanity of trying to replace a drug. What would you think about the crack smoke? You'd think, what are you doing? You've stopped it. Move on with your life. And this was a very long-winded way of saying this, but this is how I feel with alcohol. It is a drug, it is a poison, and it did nothing for me. When I'm around people who drink alcohol, I don't feel the need to replace alcohol with anything. If I saw a bunch of people that were shooting up heroin into their veins or smoking crack, I'd be like, yo, no thanks, like keep me away from these people. And I'm not here to judge anybody that puts anything in their body. People are free to do whatever they want. But when I see people drink, I don't feel this need to join in and get an alcohol-free beverage. Because what am I communicating to myself by doing that? Listen, I'm not saying that you shouldn't drink these drinks. I've got people that I work with that drink these drinks. I just don't do it myself. And it's not like you're guaranteed to relapse if you go and drink an alcohol-free beer or whatever it is people drink. I don't even know. To me, it makes no sense because now it feels like I'm trying to replace alcohol with something else. And the last thing I want to try and replace alcohol with is a fake alcoholic beverage. This is a pretty extreme opinion, but I wanted to share it with you because when you see that you don't need to replace alcohol with anything. In fact, the only thing that you replace it with is the life that you really want, the health that you want, the business you want, the career you want, the family life you want. You become the person that you want to be instead. That is the ultimate replacement for alcohol, not an alcohol-free beer. Instead of trying to replace alcohol with something, why not go towards the life that you really want? That is so much more exciting and it's so much more sustainable. And if you want to see some of the secrets to actually getting in control of your drinking, then click the video on the screen now. You definitely want to check this out.